Hi everybody, I'm Ryan, and today we're going to talk about Izzet Prowess in Standard, which has very quickly become not only the most popular deck in Standard, but clearly one of the more powerful decks of Standard, if not the most powerful deck in Standard. Today we're going to talk about card choices in the deck, the overall strategy of the deck, and how to play the deck. Let's jump into it.
Look what I can do.
So this is Izzet Prowess in Standard. What this deck is basically attempting to do is play creatures with prowess, which or prowess-esque things like Slickshot Show Off, and then cast a bunch of instant sorceries to make them really big, so it deals an insane amount of damage, often in 1 or 2 turns. So let's talk about the creatures first. We're playing 4 Monastery Swiftspear. Monastery Swiftspear is a 1-mana 1/2 with haste and prowess. It's just for a very long time, really since Khans of Tarkir was printed. This is one of the more aggressive creatures ever printed, and very good when we're casting a ton of 1-mana non-creature spells. Often this is 3 power, 4 power, sometimes 5 power. We're playing 2 Drake Hatcher. Drake Hatcher is a 2-mana 1/3 with Vigilance and Prowess, so it's really good at blocking and attacking. Whenever this creature deals combat damage to a player, put that many incubation counters on it, and remove 3 incubation counters from this creature. Create a 2/2 blue Drake creature token with flying. So this is a way to let you kind of go really wide against a lot of decks. It also makes an excellent blocker, and if you ever put a Monstrous Rage on this and are just able to slap 5 counters on it immediately, that is an extremely powerful play. We're playing 2 Slickshot Show Off. Slickshot Show Off is a 2-mana 1/2 with flying and haste. Whenever you cast a non-creature spell, this creature gets +2/+0 till end of turn, so like not strictly better prowess, but sometimes better prowess. And it has plot for 2 mana, which means you can pay 2 mana and exile it from your hand, and then cast it as a sorcery later on without paying its mana cost. There's some cool combos you can do with the plotting. You kind of might want to plot this card on turn 2 instead of just getting in that 1 damage, because then a lot of like sorcery speed board wipes can't hit it, and you can deal a ridiculous amount of damage the turn it comes out. There's a couple other pseudo creatures like Storm Chaser's Talent, which is technically a non-creature spell, so it triggers prowess. However, when it enters, it creates a 1/1 blue-red otter creature token with prowess. So it not only triggers prowess, but it creates something with prowess. You can pay 4 mana to have it become level 2 and return target instant or sorcery card from your graveyard to your hand. Very good if we get in the mid game, and they're not dead yet, and need to return a Monstrous Rage or a Stock Up or something like that to your hand. And you can pay 6 mana, which you rarely do, but it happens. You can pay 6 mana whenever you cast an instant or sorcery spell, create a 1/1 blue and red otter creature token with prowess. Something's gone horribly wrong if we're using this ability, but it can win you some games. And then the last thing that can produce creatures is Corey Steelcutter, which really pushed this deck way over the top. It's a 2-mana artifact equipment. Equipped creature gets +1/+1, has trample and haste, and it has flurry. Whenever you cast your second spell each turn, create a 1/1 white monk creature token with prowess. You may attach this equipment to it. So this means every turn, and even during your opponent's turn if you can, I've seen it happen, you get a 1/1 white monk creature token with prowess, which you immediately can give it haste, trample, and +1/+1 by equipping Corey Steelcutter to it. So gone unchecked, especially with multiple Corey Steelcutters, you can go very wide by just casting multiple spells a turn, which this deck is built to do anyway. Plus, this card triggers prowess for all the other things, and it makes prowess things kind of on a stick over and over. I'll get to the 1-mana spells in just a second, but we're going to be refilling our hand with Stock Up. That's really what we're doing, is just kind of puking our hand onto the battlefield, but with all these prowess creatures dealing a bunch of damage and then casting all these instant sorceries. But really, we're playing Stock Up, which it looks a little out of place, but it's just so powerful. It's a 3-mana sorcery. Look at the top 5 cards of your library, put 2 of them into your hand, and the rest in the bottom of your library in any order. This allows us to sort of refuel and also trigger prowess, which is extremely powerful. And then this is supported by all of these 1-mana spells. So we're playing some cantrips in sleight of hand. 1-mana sorcery. Look at the top 2 cards of your library, put 1 of them into your hand and the other in the bottom of your library. And we're playing Opt, which is a 1-mana instant scry 1 draw card. Both of these cards let us churn through our deck, get lands if we need them, get threats if we need them, get whatever if we need them, while also triggering prowess over and over. As far as like just damage dealing spells, we're playing 4 Burst Lightning. It's a 1-mana instant with kicker for 4 additional mana. And you can Burst Lightning deals 2 damage to any target. Spell is kicked, deals 4 damage instead. effectively, we're going to be using this as a shock most of the time. I mean, sometimes we'll get to 5 mana and use the kicker, but this allows us to trigger prowess, deals damage, and gets scary threats out of the way. Monstrous Rage, which is also an insane card in this deck, is a 1 mana instant. Target creature gets +2/+0 till end of turn. Create a monster roll token attached to it, which gives is enchantment that gives +1/+1 and trample. This allows us to make blocking really, really weird for our opponents. It deals a ridiculous amount of damage. The monster roll stays on the creature. Also triggers prowess, makes it so hard to block all of these crazy good creatures. And then we're playing 3 Into the Floodmaw. Into the Floodmaw is a 1 mana instant. We can gift a tapped fish, and we return target creature an opponent controls to its owner's hand. If the gift was promised, instead return target non-land permanent an opponent controls to its owner's hand. This allows us to just be very, very aggressive. Be able to return hate cards like Magebane Lizard or really, really big blockers or anything like that to be able to squeak through that damage. Also, it triggers prowess. It's just so powerful. So again, as far as the main deck goes, you're just getting these prowess creatures on the battlefield, trying to cast multiple spells a turn to always make a creature with Story Steel Cutter, refilling with Stock Up, and then playing all of these very, very powerful instants and sorceries to trigger those prowess. As far as the sideboard goes, we're playing an additional Into Floodmaw to get more things out of the way. We're playing 2 Spell Pierce. Spell Pierce is a 1 mana instant, counter target non-creature spell unless controller pays 2. Just really good way to interact with opponents like board wipes, like temp lockdown's pretty decent against us, besides against Into the Floodmaw, but it's still good to just like counter those removal spells and whatnot. I'm playing an additional Drake Hatcher for decks that either don't have a lot of removal and we can just bury them in creatures, or decks that we need to be blocking against. Just vigilance and prowess is so powerful in this deck. Playing a Lithomanic Barrage, so 1 mana sorcery. Spell can't be countered. Deals 1 damage to target creature. A Planeswalker deals 5 damage instead if that target is white and or blue. This is really decent against mostly the Oculus decks and really most decks that are playing Sheltered by Ghosts, which is pretty powerful against us. Paying that ward can be kind of hard. We're playing a Torch the Tower. This is a 1 mana instant with Bargain. It deals 2 damage to target creature or planeswalker. If the spell was bargained, instead it deals 3 damage to that permanent and you scry 1. If a permanent dealt damage by Torch the Tower would die this turn, exile it instead. Very good against the aggressive decks, mirror match, mono red, all of that stuff. The exile thing really matters with Heartfire Hero, things like that. Playing Pyroclasm. It's a 2 mana sorcery. Pyroclasm deals 2 damage to each creature. Very good in the mirror matches because when we cast it, it triggers our prowess, which gets most of our creatures out of range of Pyroclasm, and then your opponent sort of has to respond to it. Also decent against mono red and other go white strategies. We're playing 2 Sunspine Links, a 4 mana 5/4. Players can't gain life. Damage can't be prevented. When this creature enters, it deals damage to each player equal to the number of non-basic lands that player controls. This really allows you to kind of go over the top of those decks that are being greedy with their mana. Often those decks are the ones that run in a lot of removal, like Jeskai Control, Jeskai Oculus, Domain, things like that. It can just kind of be an end the game card. We're playing 2 Ral Crackling Wit. This is a 4 mana Planeswalker that starts at 4 loyalty. When you cast a non-creature spell, put a loyalty counter on Ral, so we get to just pile on royalty counters of this. +1 is create a 1/1 blue and red auto creature token with prowess. -3, draw 3 cards and discard 2 cards. And -10 is draw 3 cards. You get an emblem with instant sorcery spells you have have Storm, which is just ridiculous. But Ral is a card that we're going to be playing against decks that can answer our threats really easily. Decks that are trying to go long, like these control decks in Domain and Jeskai and things like that. And then we're playing 2 Ghost Vacuum. Ghost Vacuum is a 1 mana artifact. We can tap it to exile target card from a graveyard and pay 6 mana and tap it. To sacrifice this artifact, put each creature card exiled with this artifact onto the battlefield under your control with a flying counter on it. Each of them is a 1/1 spirit in addition to its other types, activate only as a sorcery. This is a 1 mana way to pressure the graveyards, and then if the game goes really, really long, we can kind of cash this in. You know, if we side this in against Oculus, being able to just like get a ton of Oculus on the battlefield, who cares if they're 1/1 spirits, they still trigger Manifest, and it's still just very, very powerful to pop. And then, you know, the decks we're going to side this in against is just good against our graveyard. But that is Izzet Prowess in Standard. If you like this video, please be sure to like and subscribe. Check me out on social medias. Links are above me and in the description. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.